All right, burglary. California Penal Code Section 459 defines burglary as the entry into a structure to commit a felony or a theft. California law also defines 2 degrees of burglary. First degree, which is residential burglary, going into a house, much more serious. It's a felony strike. And commercial burglary, which is going into a business with the intent to commit a felony or a theft. And that's a wobbler. It could be filed as a misdemeanor or a felony, depending on the circumstances at the discretion of the district attorney. Now, burglary can be kind of broken. The contours can be defined more sharply by comparing it to some other offenses, such as robbery, which involves force or fear, something like a purse snatch, a holdup, or a mugging. That's a robbery. That's not a burglary. Burglary does not involve force or fear. And also a theft is not a burglary. A theft is, for example, if I'm at work and I'm working late and everybody's gone and I steal somebody's stapler or their computer or their iPhone, more realistically these days, then that's a theft. I haven't entered the structure, in this case an office building, with the intent to commit the burglary, but I was just there and then I decided to steal something. That's a straight out theft. Now, the crux of a burglary case is the entry into a structure. That does not mean that you have to break in. The door could be wide open, and you could go in there and steal an item into a house. That would be a residential burglary. Or it could be open to the public, like a jewelry store, or even potentially a factory or some other business can be open to the public, and you go in there with the intent to steal or commit another felony. You've committed, in that case, a commercial burglary. Other examples of commercial burglary is I enter a bank with the intention to cash fraudulent checks. That could be a burglary. Or I enter, for example, a school, which is a commercial establishment, with the intent to assault a teacher. That's a burglary. Remember, burglary doesn't always involve theft. If I enter a structure in order to commit a felony, and that could be an assault, that could be a rape, that could be some other felony, that is a burglary in itself. What are some of the defenses to burglary? Well, common defense is lack of intent, and that could take different forms. One defense is called after acquired intent. For example, if I enter a jewelry store and I'm looking for jewelry and I see a piece that I really like, and right there and then I form the intent to take the jewelry and leave, technically I haven't committed a burglary, because when I entered the store, I did not have the intent to commit the theft, but that intent developed while I was already in the store and honestly looking at the jewelry. Another intent defense is mistake of fact. For example, I take something and I believed that that property was my own, or that I had permission to take the property. That's also a defense to burglary, because I didn't have the intent to take somebody else's, even though I did. It was a mistake of fact. Of course, mistaken identification is a common defense in all kind of crimes. It's the number one reason for faulty convictions. Eyewitness identifications are notoriously inaccurate. And then fourth defense is what I call show me the money, and I've used this successfully in court, where the victim really wants to be made whole. They're out a certain amount of money based on a theft, you come in with the cashier's check and say, hey, here's the money, dismiss the case, or reduce it to a misdemeanor depending on the factors. And I've been successful in that defense. Show me the money and I'll show you the honey. That's the defense. So in summary, commercial burglary in a business, not as serious. It's a wobbler. And I didn't talk about punishments. For commercial burglary, a felony, the maximum is 3 years in prison, and that's served at 50%. So the maximum you'll do on a commercial burglary is 18 months in prison of actual time. If it's a misdemeanor, the maximum is a year in county jail at 50%, so 6 months. On the other hand, a residential burglary is much more serious. It's a strike, and if a person is present while you're committing the burglary, then it's also considered a violent strike. So if nobody's present, it's considered a serious strike. That means you do your time at 50%. If somebody's at home, it's still a strike, but now it's a violent strike, and you are basically, unless there's unusual circumstances, you'll go to prison for a residential burglary when a person is present. So those are the consequences. Residential burglary, serious; a strike, a felony in all cases; commercial burglary, a wobbler, not as serious, could be a misdemeanor, could be a felony. It's a lot more negotiable. That's burglary.